Hey guys, welcome back to Econ class. Today's topic is going to be the production possibility frontier. Otherwise known as the production possibility curve or PPC, my preference is the production possibility frontier. But either way, it's a graph illustrating possible combinations of two goods that can be produced with a set amount of resources and available technology. We've got two different looks to this curve, one being the bowed out version, increasing opportunity cost, and the linear frontier, constant opportunity cost, and I'll explain the difference between those in just a minute. Production possibility frontiers illustrate trade-offs and possible combinations of production. In this model right here, I'm looking at the trade-off between sleep and productivity in a given day. Now, the most possible sleep we can get is 24 hours. The most possible productivity we can get is 24 hours. So those are our points on the ends there. There are a lot of different possible combinations that we can achieve during a given day in terms of sleep and productivity. So point A, this is an example where I sleep 0 hours and I'm productive for 24. So point A, I can get a lot done, but I get no sleep. Now we move forward a little bit. Different trade-off we can make. Point B, 16 hours worth of productivity, 8 hours of sleep. We could get a little bit more sleep by going 12 hours of productivity and 12 hours of sleep. Take it up a notch, 8 hours of productivity, 16 hours of sleep, or all the way to the other end, 24 hours of sleep and 0 hours of productivity. So the different combinations exist along the curve. Now, we can achieve any point on the curve. We can add minutes, take minutes away. Either way, it's one of these possible combinations that we can achieve. The production possibility frontier also illustrates the opportunity cost when making a trade-off. So in this case, we're looking at a bakery. They can produce donuts and they can produce cakes. They only have so many employees, so many resources, so many different machines to produce these. So every time they want to produce more of one, it's at the cost of the other. So starting at point A, we're producing 24 donuts and 0 cakes. In order to produce more cakes, we have to give up donuts. At point C, we are now producing 1 cake, but at the cost of 12 donuts. As we shift production even further down to point E, we are gaining another cake at the cost of 12 more donuts. So in this case, we can see that the opportunity cost of producing 1 cake is 12 donuts, no matter how many times we go. Now, shifting back up the curve, starting at point E, 2 cakes, 0 donuts. If I want to produce more donuts, it's at the cost of cakes. So shifting production back from E to C, I'm gaining those 12 donuts at the cost of 1 cake. If I want to shift production back up to point A, I'm gaining 12 more donuts at the cost of 1 more cake. So anytime we shift production one way or the other, there's going to be an opportunity cost. Now, where points fall in relation to the frontier tell us something different about that possible combination of production. Points A through E, A, B, C, D, E are all efficient and possible levels of production. In the production of donuts and cakes, if I'm producing any point on the line, I'm using all my resources and I'm able to actually produce it. Points F are currently unattainable. At some point in the future, we may be able to get there. Maybe the baker gets another employee. Maybe he gets a couple new machines. Maybe he gets access to cheaper and better resources. So he's able to get more. But he's able to produce that in the future. But currently, it is unattainable. We cannot produce 18 donuts and 1.5 cakes given the resources we have, the technology we have, and the labor that we have. Now, point G, this is a point, it's possible, but it's inefficient. We're wasting resources. So at 6 donuts and 1 cake, we could produce more cakes. We could produce more donuts. We are able to do this, it's just inefficient. In some situations in the economy, high levels of unemployment might cause this or might be a result of this. Factories being shut down, machines not being used. So it's inefficient because we are wasting resources or they are sitting idle. Now, two different shapes of the curve. The bowed out or concave to the origin. On the top there, this represents an increasing opportunity cost. The more we produce of one good, the higher the cost is going to get as we continue production. Now on the bottom one, this is a constant opportunity cost. Every time we produce more of good Y, it's the same cost of good X. Every time we produce more of good X, it's at the same cost of good Y. It stays consistent through each trade-off that we make. All right, so linear or straight line PPFs have a constant opportunity cost. As we produce more of one good at the cost of another, that cost stays constant each time we want to produce. In this model, we're producing cars, we are producing trucks. We start production down at 300 trucks and 0 cars. If I want to add 100 cars, it's going to be at the cost of 50 trucks. I got to give up 50 trucks. And this continues on. Add another 100 cars, I'm up to 200 cars, cost me an additional 50 trucks. Another 100, 50 more. And this continues on because our workers are not specialized. The guy that makes the cars can also produce the trucks. The machine that makes the car parts can also make the truck parts. The resources we use to produce one are also the resources we use to produce the other. So they are non-specialized or very interchangeable. So that constant opportunity cost will continue all the way up the frontier. Now, bowed out or concave to the origin PPFs have an increasing opportunity cost. So in this model, we're looking at a business that serves coffee and does oil changes. All right, so we're going to start down at 350 oil changes. Now, they have all their employees at this point producing oil changes. Some of them are better at being baristas, some of them are better at being changing oil. So what they do here is they want to shift production. They want to produce 100 additional cups of coffee. That first 100 cups that they produce only costs them 5 oil changes. Because it's a skilled barista that wasn't very good at changing oil. He comes up and he starts making coffee. The next guy, to produce 100 cups of coffee, it costs 20 oil changes. He's much better at, he's a little bit better at changing oil, but still better at making coffee. We increase to 300 cups of coffee. That next 100 costs them 30 oil changes. The next 100 costs them 45 oil changes. Then it costs them 70. We are getting to the point where the employees that are changing oil are not as good at doing coffee and much better at doing the oil changes. So their skill set is different. And that's the problem with bowed out production possibility frontiers. It's indicating that the resources are very specialized, whether it's the resources, the land factor of production, whether it's the machines that they're using, whether it's the labor itself. They are skilled towards one task and not so much towards the other. So as we continue, this last 100 cups of coffee cost them 180 oil changes. So it could be the skill level of the employees, the machine capabilities, or something in agriculture, just the field, the soil biology of a given field. Maybe it's better for planting corn than it is for carrots or potatoes. So they can produce more of one, and as they trade off to produce the other, it's at a higher cost as they want to produce more. So bowed out means increasing opportunity cost. Now, in time, production possibility frontiers can expand. They can shift outward. And this is growth in the economy that is occurring. Now, back to our bakery here, donuts and cakes, maybe they got some new machinery. Maybe they got, better employees. Maybe they trained their employees. There's a lot of different things that can cause the production possibility frontier to shift outward. Available resources. Maybe they had access to better or different resources. Change in technology. Maybe they can bake different amounts of goods in these, these tools that they have. The production method might change. Maybe they come up with a new idea. Think about assembly line production. That vastly changed the ability to produce different amounts of goods and services, or simply that change in labor. So when a production possibility frontier shifts outward, it expands upward to allow greater production on sometimes both, but at least one different side. Now, the production possibility frontier does not have to proportionately change on each axis. So in the situation where we had oil changes and cups of coffee as the tasks, maybe they got a better mechanic to do oil changes. Maybe they got a new machine for oil changes. That's not going to help coffee at all. So it's only going to shift outward the possibility of oil changes. Maybe they bought a new coffee machine. That would shift out only the axis on the cups of coffee. But regardless of which one is shifting, there are new points of production that are able to be achieved. All right, now, one more thing before we're done with this topic. There are trade-offs when it comes to growth. And this is a question that commonly pops up on an exam. It has to do with consumer goods and capital goods. Consumer goods are intended as a final product for use by consumers, when capital goods are used in the production of other goods and services. So when we look at this model, it has capital goods and consumer goods on each axis, and when we shift production towards more capital goods, the outcome is more future growth. If we focus on consumer goods, it's at the opportunity cost of lack of production in the future, loss of production in the future. All right, check out the description below for links to these 2 practice worksheets. I'll be going over them in my next video. Also, make sure to check out the following follow-up video, the production possibility frontier and opportunity cost. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.